Broke my IQR 860. It's got too much power for that clutch. Exploded it. Not quite sure if it was me or if it was Simon, but in any event, it happened under somebody's thumb. So that clutch exploded. I'm gonna pop the clutch off, but it's a good opportunity to show you guys something. I put a video out a while back showing how to use the water method to take a clutch off a Skidoo on a Rotax engine. And some guys have confused that with other brands of snowmobile, thinking that they can do the same thing, but you really can't. You can only really do it with this kind unless you do a few other things, and I'm going to explain why. This is the inner sheave off a Skidoo TRA primary clutch. And the reason that this whole water removal method works with this one is because of their bolt. See now their bolt, the threads on the end of it, it goes down a little bit. Anybody who's taken one off, you're going to notice that you got to thread it through there. Goes all the way through, and then it goes into your crank stub down here, right? So what you do is, and we're going to do it on this sled, you put some of your plumber's tape on here, fill that hole full of water, just lightly turn it in, and then brop it with the gun. And that compression of that water, you can't really compress water very well, it's going to cause it to pop off. Now on other clutches, for example this Polaris clutch, which is much like a Yamaha for that matter, this is the bolt that goes through that. Goes right through, right? And then this bolt bolts into the crank stub. It's not getting held up. I don't have to screw it through the threads on the inside here. I don't know if you can see those or not. There are threads in there for the puller. There you go. So you can see those threads. That's for using your clutch removal tool. So you've seen those threads. That's for a tool much like this. That's for a Yamaha, but it'll go down and then it'll thread into there, and then that pops your clutch off. This is a Skidoo type of puller. It'll thread into here, and then it goes, this long section here goes in your crank stub, and then that pops it out. We're just kind of lucky. We don't need that one. We can use this Skidoo bolt. It's the one that holds the clutch on to use our water removal method. You understand that? If you just try to take this normal Polaris bolt, fill that shaft full of water, and crank it into the crank stub, you're just going to break this off inside your crank stub. I don't want anybody doing that. That's not good. That's not what we're here for. We're here to help you out. So I'm going to show you what I do when I use the water removal method. So I'm just using this Teflon tape on our clutch bolt. Hope I explained all that well enough that everybody understands. I'm using a generous amount of this tape. You want that to be sealed in there pretty well. And if it doesn't work the first time, just try her again. Now I'm using here, this is Nestle Pure Life water. I highly recommend Nestle water. I'm just kidding. You can use puddle water if you want. There we go. Did you get that?
Do it again. Yeah.
Just fill that shaft up. Take a drink. You could use whiskey, but that'd be a heck of a waste of whiskey. You wouldn't want to do that. Although there's some scotch that I would do that with. Not a big fan of some. All right. Yeah. We're just going to wrap that on. Bingo. You see how easy that was? That silly clutch. It blew it apart. And that is it. Now you just take a little bit of air. You know, some guys say you could use oil on that. I don't like oil. I don't like getting oil on those shafts. I clean them off. I clean it off, in fact. The only other way you could really do that with one of the other clutches from another manufacturer, is to use the right size bolt that threads into that shaft right there. That's the only other way you could really do it. It's just handy with the Skidoo bolt because it goes right through and right into the motor. Now, thank you guys for watching. This old girl, she's gonna go up on the shelf because it's that time of year. Got to use it once.